Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to share with you how to make a pie crust. This is a double recipe, so it can be for 2 pies or for a pie with a top crust. And this is my grandfather's recipe, so I went over to his house to get some tips and he will be featured in this video as well. But to get started, let's measure out our Crisco.
Leftovers is when I don't like something.
I always like to be particular with my measurements.
So the very first thing you do is measure 2/3 cup of Crisco and stick it in the freezer while you're getting your dry ingredients ready, because it is really important that your Crisco is nice and cold. Then you're gonna measure 5 tablespoons of water and put it in the fridge so that it can get nice and cold. And then we're gonna move on to the dry ingredients. So next you're gonna measure 2 cups of flour. And my grandpa says that it's very important to use a spoon or a scoop to just let the flour fall into the measuring cup. Don't pack it in there and don't use the measuring cup to scoop it out of the flour bag, because then it will be too much flour. So just pile it on top of there and then use a butter knife to level it off. Next, you're gonna need 1 teaspoon of salt and then stir it with a fork. Once your Crisco is nice and cold, you can add it into the flour mixture.
Let's get every last speck out of here, and then it's easier to wash this dish afterwards. I do this until you don't see any more flour.
So my grandpa says that if you add a little bit of your flour into the measuring cup that had the Crisco in there, it helps to get all of the Crisco out of there, because he is not about wasting any ingredients, guys. So yeah, you're just going to use a pie cutter to cut this all together until you don't see any more flour. That's what my grandpa says. So once it looks like it's all covered with Crisco, then it is good.
It just takes a little bit longer. These modern people have a food processor. They just throw it in there, but I haven't got one. Like this, a little crumbles, then you're ready.
How do you know how to make pie, Grandpa?
Oh, I learned from my mommy.
Next, you're gonna get the 5 tablespoons of water from the fridge and just stir it in there with a fork just until it is coating everything and is not really wet in some areas and really dry in other areas. So you want it nice and even.
Hands were washed, so they're clean.
Oh boy.
Next, you're going to use your hands to form the dough into a ball. And then since this is a double pie crust, you could break this ball into half. That way you can have it for 2 crusts. but I was just going to make a thicker crust because I was making an apple pie, so I wanted a nice thick crust. But you could definitely cut this in half and have 2 pie crusts.
Wow, that's awesome, Grandpa. How did he do that?
See, now it's all in one bottle, or one bundle, I should say, and your pot pan is clean. So there we are, and put this in here, and this, and now for 10 minutes this has to stay in the ice box till it agglutinates.
Oh, see, I did not do that either. So you're gonna stick your dough into a Ziploc bag like I'm doing, or you can use saran wrap like my grandpa, and then let it rest in the refrigerator for 10 minutes.
Just scatter some flour around here, and then when you unwrap one of those, save that plastic to put on top of this, and it won't stick to your...
Then you're rolling it out.
Now, I forgot to buy saran wrap at the store, so I had to not use any, so I just tried to put a little bit extra flour. But my grandpa says that if you have saran wrap, you can put saran wrap under and above your pie crust, also with flour, and that will help you to get it really thin, and it will help you when you're flipping it so that it doesn't stick to the counter. So like I said, I was making an apple pie today, and I wanted my crust to be a little bit thicker. That way it would hold the juices from the filling a little bit better. And plus, my favorite part of the pie is the crust, so I love a nice thick flaky crust. But Grandpa would definitely say to roll it a lot thinner than I'm doing. So if you want it to taste like my grandfather's, then you're gonna wanna roll it nice and thin. Next, I'm just going to use my rolling pin to help me get it into the pie dish, and obviously I am not as skilled as my grandpa, but hopefully by the time I'm in my 90s, I will have gotten the hang of it. So just stick it in your pie crust. It's totally fine. If it tears, just press it back together and then trim up the edges. If you notice that any of the edges are a little bit thin, or maybe you accidentally cut too much off, just take some of your extra dough and press it on there. Once your filling is in there, nobody is gonna notice, but you definitely don't want any parts to be see-through or have a hole or a crack so that your filling doesn't fall through the pie crust. Okay, so the last thing I'm gonna do is just pinch the rim of the pie crust to make it look a little bit fancy, and then that's it, it's ready for your filling. And yeah, once I realized some of the things that I was missing, like making sure the Crisco was super cold in the freezer, and my water was actually ice water, like really cold in the refrigerator, or put some ice cubes in it to make it super cold, and letting the dough rest in the refrigerator for 10 minutes before rolling it out. I can't believe what a difference that makes, guys. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you give it a try, let me know in the comments how it turned out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
What? Never mind what I'm doing. She doesn't know. Now you want it to be nice and even like a circle, and it'll stick.
Well, you do it.
Well, she's gonna do hers.
You're gonna land on the floor, kiddo. There.
Baby doesn't want to lay on the table.
Hey. What's the matter? Oh.